Hey guys, today I'm reviewing a couple of knives that I got from Gearbest about a week ago, and that's the Ganzo's G717 on the left and G727 on the right. I'm reviewing them together because both of these knives are quite similar. They're both fairly large knives, both from the 7 series from Ganzo, and both axis locks. They both come with the typical Ganzo pouch. The G717 on the left, it's about 8.5 centimeter long for the blade, and 9.5 for the G727. So let's start with the G717. Overall, it's a very nice looking knife. Heavy though, I can't remember exactly the weight, but it is definitely heavier than its counterpart. As I say, nice looks, reminds me a bit of the Sebenza style knife. Out of the box, the spring was fairly stiff, typical for similar to all the other axis locks that I got from Ganzo, so always on the stiff side. The blade movement was not very smooth. It was quite hard to open and close, like it didn't really slide properly. I have to say, like, within a week I still haven't adjusted anything on the knives, so they're still as they came from the factory. I just played with both of them for about a week. After playing with both of them, stiffness of the spring, I can say remained pretty much the same. However, the movement around the pivot got much better. It's much easier now to open and close. Before I wouldn't be able to flick it with the thumb stud. Now I can without any problem. So nice looking knife. The blade is stone washed and it's very nice. This one is a Rev 2 of the G717. An easy way to see if your knife is Rev 1 or Rev 2 is an easy way to do it would be the position of the thumb stud. For example, on the Rev 1 it was a little bit further, so that's one indication. There's also a little bit of chamfering here for the thumb stud deployment where the Rev 1 didn't have that. The big change, however, from what I've seen on the other reviews on YouTube, is on the stop pin. I haven't opened this knife yet, but I will double check. I have no doubt this one will be an upgraded version. On the Rev 1, and that was the main problem, the pin was hollow inside, so apparently some people had the problem with the pin breaking, and this one supposedly is solid. So overall I'm happy with this knife. Like I said, the deployment got much better. Typically the way I like my axis locks to be is, for example, if I put my knife in a 45 degree, I like when the blade falls by itself just with gravity. So if I open, it's not quite there, but a little bit of force and it comes down. So still a little bit of adjustments to be made, and maybe lubrication will help, but it's getting there. You can see I can flick it pretty easily, and so it's hard to do on camera here, but so you open and close pretty nicely with the axis lock. My only real cons with this is the handle. I like the fact that it's G10, and I like that there's a bit of texture to it to make it grippy. However, this one is just very rough. Playing for a few minutes with this knife, and I have like the tip of my fingers that start to hurt just because of the roughness of the texture. So what I'm planning to do with those is take the scales apart and maybe sand them with sandpaper to kind of smooth out a bit the roughness of the scales, and maybe with a Dremel tool I'll see if I can chamfer a little bit the groove where the axis pins are, to maybe make it like softer to the touch. Other than that, it's a very good EDC knife if you don't mind the weight of it. Like, the size is decent. Once I sort out a bit the roughness of the scales, then it should be a great knife. A bit of adjustment on the pivot as well, and I should be good to go. Now the G727. Well, as many of you will see, there's like very similar look to the Ontario Rats, except that this one is an axis lock. I understand now why the Rats is so popular, and that is because of the shape of the handle. Is just extremely nice to hold, maybe due to the curves here, but the knife just feels like great on hand, no question about that. G10 handle, typical. The spring, if for example the G717, I said that the tension of the spring was typical for other Ganzos that I had. This one is just much harder. This is actually the first axis lock that I get from Ganzo that I'm thinking of opening and readjusting the tension of the spring. Is just so hard to pull. You hurt your fingers just by trying to all the time open and close the knife. I don't know if you can see like the tension on camera, but it is just very hard. Same thing, the pivot will need to be adjusted because the blade just doesn't slide at all. Let's see if I try to deploy by thumb stud. You can see. Sure, I can. If I put it some force and I flick the wrist, I'll open it, but it just doesn't open smoothly at all. If I put the same 45 degree as before and I try to bring it down, you can see the blade goes nowhere. So that will need to be taken care of. Some lube will help here, but an adjustment of the pivot should help as well. But yeah, this spring is just very hard to pull. So it's not a knife that I enjoy playing with, at least not at the moment. But once all these things get sorted out, like tension of the spring and the fact that try to get the blade to open and close a little bit more, like in a softer way, let's say, this knife should be a great EDC. Like the handling of it is it's one of the most comfortable ones that I have to hold. It is just very nice. What else can I say? I think that's it for those two knives. Hope you guys enjoyed the review, and leave me a message if you did or you didn't. Okay, talk to you later.